Whenever demons make an appearance in modern media, you can count on at least one of two reactions. Ironically, the opponents of demonic portrayal are, I'm quite sure, on opposite ends of, well, any number of spectrums: political, social, religious, cultural, take your pick. On one extreme, you have people protesting games like Doom, which depicts fiendish enemies galore, the upside-down pentagrams that they scribble on the floors, humans making deals with the denizens of hell, and of course, gobs and oodles of blood and gore. At the opposite end of the spectrum, you have those who object to the treatment of demons in shows like Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, which depicts them as ravenous monsters whose only desire is their own survival, which must be brought about through the death, destruction, and consumption of humans, and thus as creatures who can be disposed of without guilt or remorse. While one side protests the supposedly corrupting presence of demonic elements on screen, the other bemoans their alleged genocide at the hands of Frieren and company. To both these camps, I would just like to say, killing demons is awesome, actually. There are two equal and opposite errors into which our race can fall about the devils. One is to disbelieve in their existence, the other is to believe, and to feel an excessive and unhealthy interest in them. As always, C.S. Lewis says it better than I ever could, but he also lays out the problem quite succinctly, so let me draw lines between that quote from the preface of the Screwtape Letters to my own introductory statement. Those who don't believe in devils, or demons, I'll use the terms interchangeably in defiance of Wizards of the Coast, are less likely to believe in objective good and evil. There's not a perfect overlap, obviously, and if you happen to find yourself in the camp that believes morality to be objective and evil to be real, but doesn't know about the existence of intellects bent on human damnation, I still think you'll appreciate this video, because you will recognize the true irredeemable evil that exists within the demons depicted in Frieren. You won't find yourself on Blue Sky wondering about demon genocide as if it's somehow any worse than pest extermination. On the other side of the coin, people worry about games like Doom or Diablo because they fear young people developing an excessive and unhealthy interest in the demonic. It's an entirely understandable fear. Deals with the devil are decidedly bad ideas, 100% of the time. The thing is, though, that's exactly what Doom shows us. I am, of course, referring to the 2016 game. I'm sorry, OG fans, I don't know much about Doom lore prior to that year. But in the modern era, the Union Aerospace Corporation, or UAC, discovers an interdimensional source of argent energy. And because humanity will apparently build a portal to hell itself rather than build nuclear power plants, the UAC begins doing all sorts of experiments with this new source of energy, including ill-fated incursions into the demonic dimension, until finally one of its scientists, Olivia Pierce, makes a deal with the Demon Lord. In exchange for her aid in their invasion of our world, she would become a god. Gee, I wonder what that sounds like. This deal of Olivia's is the inciting incident of the game. It is what leads to the Doomslayer being called upon to send the denizens of hell back whence they came. And he does, with gusto. Look, Doom is not what anyone would call a deep game. No one is going into it expecting an experience like God of War, or Red Dead Redemption 2, or Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Those games have deep and rich philosophies all worth exploring in multi-hour video essays. But Doom's message, if you can call it that, is far more succinct. Don't do deals with the devil. And of course, killing demons is awesome, actually. The game makes the former point clear any number of times, including right near the beginning when the chief UAC scientist tries to serve the Doomslayer some utilitarian nonsense about the necessity of their research into hellish energy.
You must understand, our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, but it was worth the risk, I assure you.
Doom is exceedingly clear. I mean, what, did you expect subtlety from the game about killing demons with a shotgun? That whatever power humanity or human individuals might gain from messing around with the demonic is not worth it. Evil is not something that can be used for your own ends, even if they happen to be noble ones, and then tossed aside without consequence. Using dastardly means to achieve your goals will infect you with the desire to do more, to go further, to dig, to greedily and too deep. One does not simply play with hell power and walk away unscathed. Doom hits you with that moral about as gently as a blast from the BFG 9000. If any player walks away from this game thinking, wow, messing around with the forces of darkness for my own benefit sounds super fun, it's not the game's fault. Doom used every weapon in its considerable arsenal to show gamers that demons are not to be trifled with, and should instead be executed on sight with extreme prejudice. That also seems to be the case in the latest smash hit featuring soul-stealing fiends, KPOP Demon Hunters. Our protagonists are introduced through an action sequence in which they sing confidently and gleefully about their own ability to tear through the hordes of demons without breaking a sweat.
When you mess with our fans,
we need to make it hurt.
Okay, cool. Devils are bad. Humans kill them. Everything is simple. And then Jinyu shows up.
yours are so gross.
Now, to be clear, Jinyu is not an evil spirit, but a man who made a deal with the Demon Lord. In his case, temporary health, safety, and comfort on Earth in exchange for an eternity spent serving Gima's dastardly designs. I do have some unanswered questions about this movie's world building that still bug me to this day. Like, how is it possible that a demon fathered a child? Is that a regular occurrence? Are the other Saja boys also humans who sold their souls, or do they just assume human form, like the flight crew demons we see at the film's beginning? But those are secondary concerns. The primary worry one might have upon the appearance of this suave, charming, humorous antagonist is that the movie is attempting to say something along the lines of, well, demons aren't actually so bad, you know, look, this one's kinda sorta trying to be better. And if that's how you or anyone you know interpreted Jinyu's character, please rest assured, you could not be more wrong. While I do wish the lines between humankind and demonkind had been drawn a bit clearer in this film, they most certainly still exist. And to be fair, the lines aren't entirely clear to the characters either. Rumi herself has a moment of doubt.
Are you a prisoner too? Is Kima making you do this?
That's not really an answer, and yet at the same time, that's the only answer she could ever need. That was a demon, Jinyu is a human. A human granted unnaturally long life and supernatural abilities in the service of a Dark Lord, but a person nonetheless. Someone who can still change, still grow, still choose.
I want to believe in your crazy plan, but I don't think I'm the one to help you.
That ability to choose is what separates Jinyu from the demons that surround him. In Christian theology, angels and devils are set in their ways. At a certain point in pre-time, outside of time, whatever, St. Michael, Lucifer, and all the rest made a final, irrevocable choice to serve God or to serve themselves. Humans, at least as long as we still live here on Earth, are not so bound. We are free to change our minds. While this story about Korean mythology obviously does not adhere 100% to Christian beliefs, that all-important element of free will appears quite similar. Jinyu is not, in fact, dead. He still has his earthly body. Its lifespan has simply been extended indefinitely while he serves Gima, who still desires more from him, by the way.
If I help him, he's promised to erase my memories, and those voices in my head will be gone.
All that to say, Jinyu is a man for whom redemption is still possible, not a demon who can be cut down without hesitation or remorse. You know, like the whole host of demons that breaks out during this movie's finale, including the other Saja boys who seem incapable of impromptu human interaction, only performing their pre-written and choreographed songs and dances, so who do seem to be full-fledged demons, or at least humans who had already made that irrevocable choice to serve Gima. Either way, they are clearly beyond redemption, as evidenced by their song, Your Idol. If someone sings to you, don't let it show. Keep it all inside. The pain and the shame, keep it out of sight. And I'm the only one who will love your sins. That's a demon, and you should kill it. The other indicator that you should not be a fan of this band is the fact that their fan club is called the Pride. But it's a pride of lion. Saja means lion. Yes, it does. But also, pride is one of the capital sins. It's the capital sin, really, from which all others flow. Pride is our sense of self-importance, our placement of ourselves and our own wants and needs above the good of others. It's what caused the fall, both falls, actually, and it has remained the source of human wickedness for thousands and thousands of years. Apparently, Saja can also be interpreted to mean Grim Reaper, so that's fun too. Despite all the praise that I've heaped on this movie, I do have some minor complaints. like how the end of Rumi's character arc felt rushed, but overall I think K-pop Demon Hunters did a solid job showing us that demons exist, that evil exists, and that they ought to be eradicated. But also that fallible, sinful humans are not demons, and that hope for redemption persists as long as one retains the ability to choose. Jinyu could choose what he did and thus who he was. On the other hand, we have the demons from Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Now, the demons in this anime do have some measure of free will. I don't mean to imply that they are automatons whose every move is programmed into them. What they cannot do, however, is go against their nature. And their nature, wouldn't you know it, is to hunt, kill, and eat humans. When we are first introduced to demons, however, it's hard to imagine how Frieren blasting them into bits of mana would be remotely controversial. After all, they tend to look like this. But then Frieren, Fern, and Stark arrive at a town weary of its long war with demonkind and whose leaders are seeking to make peace. Naturally, peace talks require envoys, and the demons sent to parley with the humans look like, well, this. Oh, I get it now. If you want people to empathize with your merciless man-eating monsters, all you have to do is make them hot. Okay, I'm being facetious, but there's more than a hint of truth in that joke. As we see in this episode's flashback, Himmel the hero hesitates to kill a demon who looks like a scared little girl, his compassion and kindness overcoming him when the apparently helpless creature cries out in pain and terror, and the village chief similarly takes sympathy on the demon.
Kill her, and we'd be no better than them.
I'll admit, at this point in Frieren, I wasn't sure where they were going with the demons. I half suspected they would pull an, actually, the demons aren't so bad. They're mostly misunderstood, and throw a pall of moral confusion over the whole show in the process. After all, Himmel had largely been depicted as the wiser of the pair in his conversations with Frieren. Despite having lived for over a millennium, Frieren learns a great deal of wisdom from Himmel, mostly regarding human relationships, but as it turns out, demonology is at least one area in which Frieren's expertise ought to be trusted, as the little demon ends up killing the village chief who saved her life and burns his house down so she can kidnap his daughter and present her to the couple whose child she had previously eaten.
Here, take this child as a replacement for your offspring.
What's most interesting about this scene is that the demon, sensing their constant desire to kill her, expressed a desire to live in harmony with the humans. It does almost seem as if demons could live peacefully among people, but they are, clearly, ultimately, unable to resist their very nature. In order to survive, they will maim, they will kill, they will destroy and consume.
They're monsters who learned to speak. Monsters who found they could lure in humans by crying, "Help me."
We, as humans, learn to speak so that we can communicate with others, so we can form bonds between persons. Language is an essential and fundamental part of the human experience. But for Frieren's demons, it is a mere utility. They only speak because it is a more effective method of hunting. As the little demon says as she dies, her kind has learned to cry out, "Mommy," when they are threatened, despite not ever knowing their own mothers who abandoned them at birth, because
That word stops humans. It keeps them from murdering us.
this is what makes the demons in Frieren truly evil. Language, magic, or any other facet of life is only valued for its usefulness, for how well it can serve them. Demons have no concept of friendship, of philosophy, of art, of the things that, to again quote C.S. Lewis, give value to survival. They simply seek their own individual survival through any and all means necessary. But Sam, can they really be called evil if they cannot act otherwise? Are not good and evil things that we must choose? Excellent question. We can see that the demons in Doom, or KPOP Demon Hunters, or Frieren are evil because of what they do, because they take evil actions. They possess humans, steal their souls, or manipulate, lie to kill, and eat them. In all cases, the demons appear to have no real choice in the matter, not anymore, anyway. They simply do what their nature demands of them. Their existence is evil. They are ontologically evil. In a sense, we can think of the evil of demons, even in fantasy or sci-fi stories, in the same way that we think of the evils of humanity. Evil must be stamped out, wherever it goes, wherever it lies, wherever it hides. Most often, that evil exists within our own hearts, and it is up to us to purge ourselves of the stain of our selfishness, our impatience, our malice, and our pride. Those vices and sins cannot be anything other than they are, just as demons cannot be anything but tempters and predators. Whatever their history, whatever choice they may have made in the past, whether they are monster, fallen angel, or what have you, they are evil. And destroying evil is awesome, actually. And if you want to help destroy the evil that plagues modern storytelling, you can sign up to support the channel on my Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get early access to videos, a weekly unscripted video for me, your name in the credits, access to my Discord where we talk about all things story, philosophy, writing, etc. There are lots of other goodies at higher tiers as well, including the ability for you to select a certain topic, game, movie, show, or theme for me to talk about in a video. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you haven't already, God bless, and I will see you next time.